All right, so they cut me off, I think. Or the internet just cut off. Who knows? Jen, be very careful. Don't knock that cord because the interface just cut off and I was going live. Oh, yeah, yeah.
She's a monster.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, up. I'm going to see if people show up. Asia, okay, can you hear me again? The first video got cut off. I wonder why. Can you hear me, Asia?
It just cut off?
Yeah, it just, we're having a problem publishing your video to the news feed.
So it's gone.
Maybe.
Anyway.
And it stopped recording in QuickTime, but I started a new one. But I have most of that here, and I have, hello. Oh man, it's like not on the right one. Stop. I'm gonna do a third one. New movie recording. Can you hear me, Asia? Okay. It's going through.
Good morning.
Stop
Asia.
and lay low before
she said
you
something
break
else
my
over there.
heart. Stop. We back from outer space. Don't turn around now. Tim Gibson, Justin Rockman, thank you guys for coming back. Somehow my live stream messed up. Just as I was getting like into it. But I remember what I was talking about. Oh, I didn't tag you.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I'm just gonna share.
Trying to get it going quicker. I'm gonna give it like a minute or two and then I'll get back into it because I want people who were on to be able to join again. What's good, Tim Gibson? How are you? Thank you very much. Okay. So, hello, Mara.
Hi.
Hello, Justin. Hello, Tim. So, what we were talking about before we so rudely... I thought...
Before we so rudely, what?
Oh, never mind. Before we so rudely got interrupted, not by her, but by the internet failing, was what a virus is. So I had begun explaining, if you haven't heard me up to this point, I was talking for maybe 25 minutes on a podcast that messed up. And I was talking about some things that I've come to learn over the last couple of days related to, what's going on in this world. And I wanted to hop on and share because we were concerned because we found out that, half our friend circle was basically split down the middle between people saying, oh, I'm not that worried about this virus. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think the news is just hyping it up to make it like not a thing. I don't really know what it is, but I know it's not that. And then another group of friends who was really kind of concerned about what they're seeing and just like worried that enough people weren't taking it seriously soon enough to properly, practice social distancing and to, create an environment where people can have a chance at getting healthy and we can all just be responsible to beat this thing together, so to speak. And I realized that I didn't know much about what was going on because my wife and I never watched TV and then we never watched the news. So we heard about it, but we were like, oh, it's a thing when they declared the state of emergency in California. Mm-hmm. And that was maybe 3 weeks ago now. So we've been fine. We've been able to do whatever we have to do. We are prepared. We do have preparations in place. We're not worried from a resources standpoint. But as I began to study more about what was happening, I talked to several people. And they were able to educate me on the fact that some other things are going on than what we're being told. Now, I'm kind of truncating the beginning of that video. The first thing I explained was that there's about to be a change, I think, coming pretty soon. Later today, maybe not later today, but there is about to be an instituting, an acting of a nationwide lockdown / martial law situation. I don't know if they'll call it that, but some sort of lockdown that is supposed to kick off before the end of this weekend. And that means basically today. Now, that could be wrong. The people trying to foment this lockdown, aforementioned alleged lockdown, might change their minds, or it might be altogether wrong, or it might be right. So that's partly why that's part of the reason we felt compelled to speak on this this morning. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning in LA, and we got this information really a couple days ago, maybe within the last week, but we've kind of been sitting on it, been trying to check and recheck and really get to the bottom of what was being done here in terms of, what was really happening in the world with this whole coronavirus thing. Part number 2 that was like the first bullet point that I made, is that, there's a change coming in this nation in a way that's going to seem very strange and weird, and it'll happen sooner than you might realize, sooner than I realized up until very recently. So the second point that I wanted to make was that we are being misled about the deathliness of this virus. I take this situation very seriously, and that's why I spent the time reaching out to the contacts and connections that I had and doing research that I did and can provide, and would, you just have to take my word for it at this point. But we have it on a strong enough hunch to know, not hunch, strong enough authority to know that what we're seeing happen presently with the coronavirus pandemic is a ruse being augmented by the media, the World Health Organization, and various other agencies that are working together, and there's not even that many of them that have to do it. Does that mean we don't take it seriously? We don't prepare? Absolutely not. Does that mean we use wisdom and we practice social distancing because it makes the other person feel better? Sure. I don't have a problem doing that. But, the only thing that brings us true protection is the Father in heaven. That's it. The Most High. That's the only thing powerful enough to bring us true protection. Short of when that's really required, which is really always present, is information. The second you know something about a thing is less scary. It's the unknown that's scary. So we were getting into, before it cut off, talking about what a virus is, how a virus actually works, what things affect a virus, how electromagnetic resonant interference will affect a virus, can activate a virus, can deactivate a virus, can do a whole other host of things. And warfare in 2020 looks very different than it looked like in 2000, and very different from the 1960s, and obviously different from 1918. So what we're dealing with is a unprecedented level of worldwide change. Worldwide change. We're talking industries halted overnight practically for a virus that has existed for a long time, the human coronavirus. T-Lin, you're onto it. You're right, but we're gonna get there shortly. I gotta like lay it out shortly because you can't hit it too hard; it just loses people. But we're on a. Sorry, I was talking about the coronavirus, right?
Yes.
Okay, what a virus is, how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay.
Are you sure?
I am. Yeah, I think I'm not sure. I look at the comments and then I get sidetracked. Coronavirus is a virus. Is an umbrella term for multiple viruses that many of which have existed for the longest time, and it's
how it works, babe.
how what
The virus.
Well, I was talking about how it works, and I realized I didn't. I'm not trying to get into how it works, like virally. I'm just trying to say that viruses work by needing activators and needing an immune system threshold to be at a low enough state. Meaning, there's three factors that have to factor in for you to actually get sick and die from a virus. The virus has to be present. It needs a ligand, something to really activate its entry into your cells so that it can do its dirty work. And then it needs all of your immune system to be a compromised enough state for that to all take place. If you keep your immune system up and you keep healthy, eat your vitamin A, eat your vitamin C, your iron, your folic, your dark leafy greens, you cut meat out of your diet. I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but
Yeah.
there's a thing in dead flesh. You have to understand that this isn't about. Do I admit we've been vegetarian now for over a year, when we realize that there's a spiritual, energetic issue with consuming dead flesh of any type. So, I'm not here to offend anybody, and yes, hamburgers are delicious, and I do miss sushi, and I do miss salmon, and I do miss a good steak. But I cut it out because I recognize we cut it out.
I don't eat meat either.
Because we recognize a whole host of things. One important category of which is there is a electromagnetic signature toward dead things, and they weren't ever supposed to technically be in you. In Genesis, the Father says, "And I gave you every green tree and seed-bearing fruit as food." And that was for animals and humans. And then a whole host of nasty stuff happened between Genesis 1 and Genesis 6 that they left out. And Genesis 7 is the flood. So understanding what happened in those 5 chapters helps you understand, oh, that's why I shouldn't be eating meat. Got it. And so we stopped. But all that to say, these are things that can help keep your immune system up so that that third criteria is never met, even if those first two are present. The second thing that I was talking about in the other video is that there is, according to the IMF, as of the 18th of March, so that was 4 days ago now, and sorry, I said the IMF, the World Health Organization, the WHO, there have been 202,000 cases, confirmed cases of coronavirus, COVID-19, and about 6,500 deaths. And that number was rising. And for the most part, I do agree with the fact that there haven't been enough tests, and therefore we don't really know if it's been more people than that or not. But let's just say it's been 1 million, 5 times as many people with confirmed cases. Keeping in mind, 6,500 people have died, which means even if you multiply that, it's like 30,000 people have died. Like a very insignificant number compared to 7.3 billion plus, which is the population of the world. Rotavirus, norovirus, HIV, tuberculosis kills the most amount of people in the world per day, like 3,000. Coronavirus has killed 56 up to this point, on average, people per day. And we shut the whole world down? The whole world? For a virus that's been around for a minute and is on the back of your Lysol can, it's something else going on. I can tell you this. I work in television enough to know, not in television, but in this city, in Hollywood, whatever, enough to know that what you see on TV is TV. It's not the truth. And I'm sorry if you've never been told that, but you have to listen to me. I'm looking straight at the camera because I want you to really understand that the news is television. It is charadetry. It is scripted by the last fly seat of their pants, skin of their teeth, to keep you misinformed as to what's really, really going on. And what's really happening is an economic play. This is an attempt to slice the middle class and everything that's a small business, that's not a conglomerate, Amazon, Google, Facebook, multinational thing, slice it to bits. And then institute a control mechanism as the solution for what happened so we can never have this happen again. And it's been planned for a long time. I've been talking to people in 2016 about this, like a long time ago. And so I'm not frustrated. I'm just kind of at a point where I'm like, well, I have to help as many people as I can because most people just don't know this. And she's like, it's the end of the world as we know it. T-Lynn, you might be more right than wrong with that statement. And because it's been so long in the making, it's been rehearsed and planned. If you haven't heard of Event 201, look that up. Start there. Why did they practice in October of last year for what it would be like if we were to simulate a coronavirus pandemic outbreak? How would we react to that in theory? 2 months later, oh, my, look at there, a real coronavirus. It's television. This round. There is another round coming in the fall. I believe that will be very different. And that one is the one you got to look out for. This one is the scare to give you the lull over the summer, to give you the real kicker in the fall, which is a thing that will be placed inside of you. So should you agree to take this thing, that basically lets them know who got coronavirus and who don't, and who's been tested and who hasn't. And the implications for this type of surveillance is really dire, and I don't need to get into all that, but just know that, hey, Jody, hey, Scott, Raphael, just know, ask your question again, Raphael, because I saw it on the other channel, but I forgot what you asked, and I'll try to find that and answer you. Something about what to look up or something like that. We're getting to a place where the seams are starting to unravel from the tricks that have worked for a very long time in this country, and some people are waking up to that, and some people are not. And it's my prayer and my hope that everyone understands what's happening to them. And Tim, what am I talking about? Hey, Crystal. I'm talking about the people I know. Like, this is the thing. Okay, all of y'all know me for the most part. Everybody on this thread, and for the most part, most of the people on my Facebook, I personally know. If I had to tell you, since moving to Los Angeles 10 years and 4 days ago, how many people I've met, how many people I just know through the people I know. And this isn't to brag. I'm not even going to mention names. I'm just trying to say the network that the Father has given me of people to work with and fellowship with and just know gives me a perspective that has the authority to suggest that what's happening with this coronavirus is deceitful. I'm not saying there is no such thing as coronavirus. I'm not calling it a hoax. I'm calling it a scripted plan to destabilize and destroy people's perception of their government and their bank accounts at the same time, and their ability to make money through a job that's not for the state. And it's happening in swift fashion, it seems, and there just might be a new turning point at some point later today with an announcement that might be made before the end of this weekend about a new state of surveillance and a military presence on the streets to stop the spread of coronavirus. There are German doctors, there are doctors all over the world, virologists that are saying, listen, there's thousands of problems. The doctors that you see them let talk on TV are paid to be on TV, and they're doing things to get scientific and academic grants. That's the one sector of the industry that I was last to catch up on, is academia being like a hustle, not for the truth of science and medicine, but for money, grant money, and like research publishing and like plaques and buildings named after me on y'all university campus, stuff like that. Not about truth to help the little person. Students that went there were about that, but not the people that's actually got the buildings that you learned in, not them. And yes, I'll answer your question here in just a second, Raphael. What is happening with the TV scientists are that they're all just being paid to speak as vague and as specific enough to know that for you to know that this is an issue and yes, coronavirus is a thing and what we're seeing here and here's some precautions and yes, using good hygiene is a good thing because it's going to keep germs off you. That's a given. You should always be practicing good hygiene and washing your hands. But what no doctor is telling you is get your immune system up. Eat healthy. Cut certain things out of your diet, even in the short term, to give yourself the best fighting chance against catching or even being affected by this in the first place, because your immune system is the best line of defense. And a healthy immune system is God's way of giving you that line of defense against their poisons and against coronavirus. But nobody's telling you that because the pharmaceutical company don't get money off them telling you that. So they're telling you other things that happen to benefit Purell and Lysol and Clorox and the 3M Corporation. They don't like, you can just tell, like, this is the last thing I'll leave you with because I'm not going to rant. I just want to share and I want to answer questions. If the institutions that claim that they care about the safety of our elderly or of our nation at all cared, would they also sanction pharmaceuticals that kill and that destroy liver? Would pharmaceutical commercials have just as much time explaining the side effects of Lipitor or Cialis as the benefits of it? Side effects may include it's like, it sounds worse than the disease itself. Would they allow food like rat poison in your children's cereal? Or like your Lucky Charms? Would they put fluoride in your toothpaste and make that the number one doctor recommended way of whitening teeth? I mean, bentonite clay does it. Or like, I don't know, not drinking coffee and all kinds of other things. You know, is there any track record, any evidence that the government or the World Health Organization or the CDC has ever given you that they care about your health? No, there has not been. So do not think that it is any different now. You have to use wisdom and discernment in these times. And you have babies and little ones, and their immune systems need a fighting chance to do the thing that they were designed to do from the best immune system builder in the entire universe. Not a pharmaceutical company that profits off of you being sick. They don't make no money when you healthy. They don't want to see you healthy. They just want to see you back here next week. It's ridiculous. So with that said, I'm going to answer some questions. Okay. Any suggested keywords, phrases to research? I heard about the 201 thing. Yes, Event 201 is the first thing. So research ID 2020. Find out what that is. Find out whose money is going into that and how much money this individual has. Find out what 60 millimeter wave frequencies are. Find out what happens when you break apart subatomic binders that hold oxygen molecules together with electromagnetic radiation, and how accessible that radiation is, and how potentially dangerous / already tested for 25-30 years this technology is. And then continue. Research, Agenda 2030, things like that. Just know where they're like, know who your enemy is. That's the one thing I say is if you've got the stomach for it, a lot of people don't. If you do have the stomach for it, figure out who your enemy is. Start with, pray about it. Start with the spiritual aspect and work your way into the technicals, because it branches into every subculture in every industry, medicine, science, entertainment, education. It all connects. So I'll give you a few names to begin, or a few terms to begin with. But let's see. William Beatty says, if you indeed are talking about the mark, first a leader needs to come forth, the Antichrist. You should actually reread Revelation and reconsider the timeline. There's no first. It is simply a enforcement thing that happens at that point. Meaning, it was here already, now you definitely got to get it. And the time period between when it was here already and when it's enforced is who knows how long. Obviously not that long, but could be a couple years, could be a decade, could be a couple months. I don't know, you don't know. But I'm not saying you're wrong, and I don't mean to be cynical. I'm just saying we have to, the one thing that somebody who I really respect taught me is that you cannot assume how things are going to play out. The Father has told us over and over and over, things are going to play out in ways that you don't imagine and think, like you never would have guessed that it would have happened this way. You're on the right track with the type of subject matter, William, but it's going to play out in a different way. And it's by deception Satan deceives the whole world. So don't think that, oh, we read this book so we know exactly what's going to happen. No, everybody's up for this. Even me. I don't consider myself non-trickable. I stay vigilant. I change my mind multiple times throughout my research. I go, I thought it was this, but now I actually don't think it's that. I think they were trying to make me think it was that for these reasons. We're very analytical and we drop our ego real quick. Okay, thieves oil, order online, and while available, read up on it. Thieves oil. We had some thieves oil in a essential oil pack, but we used it all already. We had to get some more. Thieves, it's a essential oil. T-Lynn says look that stuff up. I don't know much about it, but I know essential oils are super duper dope, so it's probably cool. Side effects may include death. Darcy, thank you very much. Amen, Patricia. T-Lynn, vitamin C. Take Tim. They're gonna come to my house when I start researching. I'm with you. I felt this way for a while also. No, they won't come to your house when you start researching, but they might come if you start talking about it. So I'm ready for them. But now I'm just playing. All the information that I've said to you, I've researched. So it's out, meaning they don't mind it, people knowing it's part of. This is the other thing you have to learn. I spent a lot of time learning about my enemy. And I equate it like a sports thing, like almost studying the game tape of my opponent so that I know who's weak, who's strong, who goes to their left side, who's favors their right, who's the three-point shooter, who's the big man, who's the little. All of the sizing up for Tim and all my sports people out there. You can really metaphorically understand what's going on in the bigger picture if you put it into a sports model. And in that research and in that study, what I found is that there's a difference between the agents of Lucifer. Some are called Satanists and some are called Luciferians. And the two, nary the two shall meet. They don't operate the same. And they sell you, the Satanist, as to what devil worshiping looks like in the form of like Anton LaVey or the Marilyn Mansons of the world. People like Lil Uzi Vert. People like that. But then they have Luciferians who are like, I'm a Luciferian. I merely do disgustingly horrible things in a very fine ascot. And I would never dream of being a Satanist. That's below me. And the Luciferians are the ones who run things. And part of their code is that they have to show their opponent what they're doing. It's a very sadistic way of saying murder and kill and be evil, but just make sure you warn them so that they have the ability to step out of the way. It's a little bit of the Inigo Montoya mantra. I am Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Right? He tells you what his beef is with you, and then he gives you a chance to draw your sword, and then he proceeds to fight you because he's confident in his skills. That's their corny tactic. So they put it in the form of science fiction or movies like Idiocracy or movies like Armageddon or movies like Contagion. I saw a video today of the dude, and the dude is like, look at this dude on CNN who's been talking about the coronavirus. He's like, this is the same dude who played the CDC chief in the movie Contagion, where they're dealing with the same exact narrative. He's like said the same lines in a movie that came out a few years ago and that he said on CNN. And he showed this dude is like, now I'm not a conspiracy dude, but like, don't this seem weird to you? He's like yelling at the camera. It's really funny. But
I haven't seen it. I want to see it.
It's really funny. So to answer your question, Tim, the Luciferians show you what they do. So they kind of, it's like here's a Gideon Bible in every hotel room ever. So you have no excuse that you didn't know what was coming when it come, because you didn't read it. And you was hoping that somebody up there was going to tell you what it say. And they was focusing on something that make them some money. So unfortunately, there you go. Whoop! That's what's about to go down, and that's their style. And so if you want to step out of that, you have to step out of the paganisms. You have to step out of the common rigmarole of religion. You have to get real close, sit at the feet of the Father, and really ask Him how to protect you, how to guide you, how to teach you, how to educate you on what's really happening here, because it's happening a lot than people realize. Oh yeah. Okay, 5G is being installed on the corner by my house, and a truck saying global security / Microsoft was leaving the site. Global security 5G installment site. Yeah, I've seen multiple videos. This is like, for people who don't know how this connects, just take my word for it. If you really want to know, I'll explain it to you. If you don't want to know, keep scrolling or skip past it, just forget I said it or whatever. But 5G does connect to this. I didn't know how specifically until relatively recently, but I see it now, and it's like, oh, okay, I understand this. And it took me going into an old subject matter that I used to really like when I was in college, physics. I studied physics and like optical physics and like physiological physics, as well as like math-based physics, but I liked the other types of physics more. And this stuff crosses into that territory, the territory of like where physics actually matters at the subatomic level. And so, you know, people would otherwise be like, 5G, that's just cell technology. It's got nothing to do with viruses. And it really does, because it used to be T-Lynn mentioned this earlier in the podcast, but what they have marketed as 5G to y'all, to us, was developed as military psychotronic weaponry against people in the 90s and like Vietnam and stuff like that. They were using all these black project stuff and all this stuff that was high technology then against the enemy, and now it's being used against the world, the people, so that they'll do what they're being told. So yes, there's definitely something like that going on. The Antichrist rises after it's in place. So true. William Beatty, may God touch many lives through your talk. You're headed to church. Drive in style. All right, William, have a good day. Disclosure and a crappy attempt at one too. Exactly. Asia. It's like their disclosure. Lucifer is cornball. Like just corny than a dude. It's copycat corny.
He's a
Stop. Bullying. Let me go back up to some of these earlier videos. Absolutely. Freemasons take an oath not to lie, so while they plan their wicked plans, they use media and Hollywood to produce clues as to what they're doing and going to do, mocking us. You're right. I've talked to, I don't think it'll get this person in trouble. I'll make it vague enough so that it won't get this person in trouble. I was at a restaurant with a group of friends, and I was telling them about the fact that, you know, intelligence agencies and government agencies sometimes are involved in the production of movies. And it's like the chief reason why that happens, that movie gets made, is because it was like pushed through by some entity higher than the studio. And when I said that, one of the people at the thing spoke up and was like, I was at an event not that long ago at the home of a famous director, and the UN was in his living room pitching him a movie, and it was wild because I was always curious why they were there. It didn't make any sense until you said this thing right here. And I'm like, yeah, and that movie probably got made too.
And it was that could be she. But we have another person that had the same scenario happen when the UN was in the living room talking about movie ideas.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
that's true.
Strange.
So again, these are just, we wasn't in the living room. We just know some people who was. And so again, could be a coincidence. This is the last thing I'll talk about, and then we'll get off because I won't make this too long. I think I've got through all the questions. T-Lynn, yeah, Freemasons. I'm going back to the questions. Yeah. Okay.
Were we down?
I think so.
Okay.
This is the thing that I think people just have to. It'll just have to be my word taken for it. I'm gonna be as honest with you as I can. I'm not gonna say anything that. She in her road. Hello. You good? Okay. Well, lovely. Hello. Say hey to everybody. I'm not going to. I want to do my best at backing up what I say and getting to the crux of, like, backing up what I say with research and with time, with prayer, and getting to the crux of the issue that's helpful to people. I don't want to make this too belabored, but I should say I don't want to belabor this point too much. But we're heading into a time that is going to involve a lot of deception. And it's my heart, it's our heart that none of my friends or anybody who hears my voice be deceived. And so, Father, we just ask that you protect us from this deception. It's going to be thicker than I think a lot of my friends realize. And it's already been going for a long time. And we're already in a state of pretty much lockdown in California and about to be nationwide over something that is entirely deception based at this point.
Did you tell about the 0.0000?
I said about that.
Okay,
yeah.
just making sure.
But it's just going to be a interesting few months. And Father, we just ask that you help us all through these months, and you give us work, and you give us resources, you provide. That's one of your strengths, is your provision. And so we thank you for that, for our friends and for our family. And we thank you for our children. May you baruch them and give them joy and give them fresh ideas of what to do when they're out of school. And, will you just give us all protection and peace with understanding a little bit more truth about what's really playing out here, and with a little bit more of a heads up with what might be coming around the corner. And it's in your son Yeshua's name we pray. Amen. And yes, Jennifer, I saw your text. So yes, I will repeat the 000 thing. What I said about that was the number of official deaths as listed by the World Health Organization as of March 18th was 202,211, I believe was the number. I might be wrong on the number, but I know it was somewhere in the 202,000 range. The number of deaths, that number was reported cases of coronavirus worldwide. The number of deaths was 6,500. Now, that is the number of tuberculosis deaths per day is about 3,000. Then it goes down to HIV at 24,500, something like that. And then it has about 10 other viruses: rotavirus, norovirus, Shigella virus, all kinds of weird viruses and different diseases, E. coli, poisoning, all kinds of stuff. And then, way down the list is coronavirus, human coronavirus. So that if you take the 202,000 something number and you divide it by the world's population, which is 7.3 or so billion, you get a number that's 0.0000, 4 zeros, so 0.0000285 and some other numbers. That's 2/1000ths of the entire world has coronavirus, but the entire world shuts down.
Those are just the ones that have
Those are just the
have
ones
been
that have
recorded
it.
to have it.
Yeah. Now again, hey, we know that the tests have been botched. We know that they're having a hard time getting these tests out, and they take forever to come back. And maybe people had it 2-3 months earlier. We get that, but let's quadruple the number to 1 million. 1 million out of 7.3 billion. And we shut the world down, the whole world.
all the airplanes, everyone's been out of work.
No.
No.
That don't fly. That's not how that works. Good morning, Bradley. How are you? I've been searching for a group that's speaking the truth. Well, Darcy, we here. We might just start you a group because you're very welcome too, Tim, by the way. Hey, Catherine Foster. Catherine Foster gave me my first job in video.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. She will go down in history in my autobiography as the first person to give me a job doing video in my entire life.
Wow.
And she set my whole career up. So thank you, Kathy. My brother-in-law is a major in the Army, and he says we probably all have it. I mean, probably. But again, coronavirus, a healthy immune system. This is how you know that the scientists and the doctors that are being asked to speak on this on all of your public news channels are misleading you. Anybody who knows how viruses work knows that 3 major conditions have to be present in the body. The virus has to be present, a ligand or ligase, a activating initiator has to be present to actually take this virus from its dead and dormant state into a cell that gives it enough energy to siphon off to actually live and do its dirty replication. And then your immune system, the third thing is that your immune system has to be at a compromised enough state to not fight it off like regular. If you get a fever, that's your body's immune system fighting something off. And 8 or 99% of people fight it off just fine. So nobody's telling you, hey, get your immune systems up. Let's go through a period of detoxing and healthy eating and proper diet and proper rest and low stress levels. They're doing the opposite of that. They're upping your stress levels and making it so the only thing you can afford to eat is junk food because it's the only thing left on the store, and McDonald's is the only thing you can afford because you ain't going to work because they shut everybody work down. They're doing the opposite of setting your immune system up for success, and that's what will fight coronavirus or any virus. And so your brother-in-law is probably right. Plenty of people probably had it. I know people who
didn't someone that we saw say that we have all kinds of different viruses in our body,
you do
get activated. It's
you burnt so much. Did you guys see the post on my page today with the freight train full of tanks headed west? We've seen multiple videos of tanks headed west. I've seen videos in Wisconsin of trains like 150 car, 200 cars deep of military tankers headed west. Sorry, no, not headed west, headed east. And I saw videos in Barrington, Illinois.
In San Diego, I saw.
San Diego.
We've
seen it all throughout the Northeast, headed east. I haven't seen anything headed west, but we were just told earlier today by someone who's high enough, I don't need to say too much more, that for everything we see above ground on the trains, there's like 100 times that underground in bunkers and tunnels and underground railway systems, not railway systems, but just like storage and trafficking systems that have been set up strategically for this very time because all this was scripted. So it can get real hood real quick. I saw some videos of tanks here in Iowa. I think it's December, had a 6-day fever. I remember Iowa told us to fast our bodies. Turns out fasting creates hydrogen, and hydrogen virus, and she's right. Did you guys know the UN has been looking for people to fill this armament position since late last September, specifically in New York? Disarmament, meaning martial law come, they say we take your guns, you give them to us. And, they're going to start it where they started and they're going to push it worldwide.
Did you say that they were trying to get I forget my words now.
Hello.
Chris.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm thinking right now? Say what I'm thinking.
Did you say that they were trying to get there blank, blank, blank?
Yeah.
See, this is what a marriage will do to you. It's, we so tired we ain't had no sleep, but finish my sentence for me. Go on, you know what I'm thinking. Like, no, I don't. I know what you're thinking. No, you don't.
What
Hey,
this country was founded on.
What this country was founded
Yeah.
on. The Mason thing?
The rules.
Constitution.
The Constitution. They were trying to have it on hold.
Oh, yeah, to put a pause to the Constitution. Yeah, we heard about that. I don't know if that'll stick, but...
But you can see what's happening.
Why would they say that they're going to do it? They would just do it.
It could be also...
Mom brain.
That's
Mom
right.
brain.
That's what it is.
You
Thank
get a pass. Say, Mom
It is
brain.
the mom
I'll take the blame.
But we don't want to, have you guys be scared.
Yeah, we're not scared at all,
But-
you can tell.
We also want to read a scripture. Did you read it yet?
No.
Okay.
You read it.
It was,
talked
what
about
was it? 31?
6? I think so. Whoa.
Deuteronomy.
Let's set it up like this.
Okay.
So we're going to leave you guys with hope because we feel like joy and hope and a confidence in the true protection is really the only thing you really need. You don't even really need to know all the stuff that we know. We say this for the people who got ears to hear, who got the stomach to handle some of this scary stuff. But if you don't need to know any of this stuff, if that stuff spooks you, great. You don't have to know it.
Look what Tina is saying.
I heard that, T-Lynn. I'll explain that here in just a second. So I'll explain it. Well, I'll explain the text first, and then we'll end on a positive. I was gonna say we'll read the verse first, and then I'll say the comment, but the comment is pretty dire. So T-Lynn said, just got a text that says April 1st we could have a 10-day blackout, no cell, no internet. That goes
And
in
she also
line.
says this. Did you see that?
Yeah, saw some going from east to west and some
No,
going from,
so some going to the west and
some going to the east. Yes, but again, I was told that that's just to brandish what we finna do to y'all, and they've already got the real ones in place in hidden places in their destinations already. So it's a little bit of both. But you're right. We have seen the trains moving with the hey baby hey.
Oh, about the blackout. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna read. Just our friend T-Lynn, she's a wonderful lady in Seattle. She said, just got a text that says April 1st we could have a 10-day blackout. That's not funny. You look worried. You good?
Go.
You sound like a gremlin.
I think she might be warm.
Yeah, exactly.
But she's naked.
You got her in the most. I'm hot looking at her. You hot?
I'm hot too. That's why we gotta
We all
finish
hot
this
in
video
here.
up.
We're gonna finish it. We're gonna melt because we can't cut the fan on because there's too much air noise. So, what T-Lynn said was that she just got a text that April 1st we have a 10-day blackout. T-Lynn, that goes right in line with what I was thinking. What I've been told is that it would be a short-term, purposeful internet blackout, would be blamed on a hack or who knows what they'll blame it on.
Because they don't want us to be talking, is what. Sorry.
But the purpose of it is to hamper communication and to really install some things that weren't installed before the blackout.
And
went
also
on.
instill fear.
All of the above. All of the above. So most of the National Guard members at my friend's job were not at work 3 days ago. Governments will do what? Sorry, that's what Asia said, and you're right, Asia. We've heard that. I'm going to mention that in a second. Most of the governments will do what they want, but we know the one who controls all things. You're right, Bradley. That is 100% true.
And we're more than they are. We're more than
Yeah, it's more of us than more than. That's the other thing that somebody said. They said the people need to understand that the police force, if the people and their police and the local police that are, allegiant to the people of the region got together, they would prevail against any sort of tyranny and any sort of real threat. But because it's way more us than them. But, it's like, I'm not sitting here trying to become, a leader of no militia or nothing like that. Bert Walker says, I definitely believe that there is something else going on here. Praying for everyone's safety. God's in control. God also gives us the capability to discern. Keep your eyes and ears open for everyone stuff here about. We love you guys all the way from North Kakalaki. Thank you so much, Bert. We appreciate that, and we fully agree. And
let the baby preach.
Preach, girl. Go for it.
I'm hot.
Don't be that. Don't be the naked baby
like
preacher.
As in warm.
Put some clothes on first, baby.
Okay, babe.
We think that what we've been told is that there probably will be a blackout. I think of utilities and internet, but maybe just internet.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
It's a fluid thing. What needs to happen is they are trying to work to an end that they have a threshold that they are still figuring out how far they want to establish and take it. So it's a toss up between what'll all go off. It'll start as a week. It's probably going to extend to a month, and maybe by April 1st through the 10th, a blackout will happen. So, don't be afraid. Like, operate with complete confidence and trust that this is going to be short term and that you're going to be protected through this. But at the same time, do talk to your family and do really take this serious. Not in the sense of like y'all all gonna catch a virus and die, but in the sense that something's about to happen that nobody sees coming, and we need to be in a place of love and harmony and understanding with one another, and and then it'll blow over, I hope.
Yeah, and this is something that they're trying to do, so It doesn't mean that it will happen the way that they're trying to, because it didn't up until this point. It hasn't
up until this point, right?
So prayers do work, and things don't always go as planned. So you want to read that scripture, babe?
Sure.
Or do you want me to read it? Do you want to set it up?
Well, I was just gonna set it up like, with all that negative, dark stuff said. Hey, Marie, that's more. Hey, oh, you like more. Or you like far? You like Papa?
You just missed
a mouthful.
whole mouthful of stuff going on. But yeah.
So all the setup was going to be is that we want to make sure to always on this channel acknowledge a solution. I'm always talking to Jen. We need the solution. Okay, that's the problem. I hear what your problem is, but what do you want me to do about it? The do about it part is the Most High. He's the only one who's going to be able to help move something in a positive direction in any of our lives. Every good and perfect gift comes from above, and joy is a good and perfect gift, and laughter, right, baby? Right?
That's right.
Ooh, say excuse me. And therefore, we're going to end it with this verse from the Torah, which is even better.
Deuteronomy. I can never say it right. How do you say it?
Deuteronomy.
31:6. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear, nor be afraid of them. For it is Yahweh your Elohim who is going with you. He does not fail you nor forsake you. Should I continue reading, or that should...
Yeah, boom.
Boom. That one just says it all.
Yeah.
So,
read it again. It was good. Say it again,
yeah, I'm
Mama.
going to say it one more time. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear nor be afraid of them. For it is Yahweh your Elohim who is going with you. He does not fail you nor forsake you. Like those other cinnamon. You know what I'm saying?
Cinnamon. Cinnamon? Like those other cinnamon.
Like, I was going to keep it cordial and not say anything that's... You know where I was going with that.
Going. Please tell Matthew to come home to his mom. Love you too, Raul. Beware of the event in the sky. Chemtrails and heavy chemicals in them also used for holographic technology. Absolutely. Love you, brother. Thanks for the videos. You're very welcome, Steven.
Project
Blue Bean.
Well.
Cool.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and listening. And please pray on this.
And if you
go to the Father with any questions, and also you know, if this rings a little bit true in you, then maybe you have an inkling too. It's those inklings don't come from just nowhere. And the world, if you look at it as it is right now, it's something that's not right going on. And so if there's just a little bit of a sprinkle of something that seems to be off, like a cockroach, if you see one cockroach, it's probably a whole nest of them underneath. So that's kind of where it is.
Greater is he in us than he who is in the world. Amen, Rose.
That's right.
Amen. I agree with that. Kiki,
Well, message
what's
Matthew.
good, cousin?
Jennifer.
This baby's like, Mama, I'm hungry. Are you hungry? She know what that means. Hungry. That means time to eat. Ah, yes. Okay.
All right. Well, with that, are we done, babe?
We done. Say hungry. Hungry.
So have a good day.
Hungry.
You got this. Bye.
Hungry.